All right, thank you so much, Peter. Let's now move along. Cyclone Idai made landfall in Mozambique on the 14th of March this year, leaving behind a devastating humanitarian crisis. Over 600 people died and more than 100,000 homes were destroyed by the cyclone. The events of Cyclone Idai have been described as the worst natural disaster to ever hit the African continent. And as a result of this catastrophe, the midnight train to Beira was formed by the South African storytelling group Hadithi Africa, and this was aimed at collecting and delivering aid to the hard-hit Beira, which of course they successfully did. Now they have launched the midnight train phase 2, which will now be focusing on building houses for the victims. Thandwefika Tshabalala is the founder of Hadithi Africa, and he joins me now live in studio. Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for coming through.
Good afternoon, Palisa. Thank you for having me.
Now, when I had your team earlier this year in studio, they were appealing for assistance and donations, and I suppose a whole lot of people came out to assist. How did that phase 1 go?
It was amazing. We didn't anticipate that kind of response. But South Africa came out in full swing, and we managed to deliver just over 50 tons of aid to Beira.
Yeah.
So it was pretty amazing.
The response was amazing as well. So the hashtag that was trending, we do know, of course, social media is the in thing in South Africa. How did that contribute to the success of this particular project? Okay.
So the hashtag actually did help. It's much easier to communicate midnight train than it is to communicate Hadithi Africa. So having a simple hashtag to follow was quite easy, and people were able to follow the whole conversation, both on Twitter and on Facebook, and that's what led to such a large response.
Yeah.
So that was great.
And I remember we had people in studio who were telling us about the devastating circumstances there in Mozambique. Share with us your experiences when you guys got there. What did you find?
Sure. So a group of us then took a trip, and we went to deliver the first round of aid. So we went with the trucks, and you cannot believe the devastation a natural disaster like a cyclone has. I'm talking about demolished houses, schools were gone, whole fields were flattened, crop failed. It was quite a devastating sight to see so many people living in makeshift shelters for a while. So after we went through that, we knew that this cannot be the only response we have.
Yeah.
And
that's why you decided on the phase 2 of this midnight train to Mozambique, of course. But you're focusing now on the rebuilding part of things, rebuilding the structures there. But it's going to be very unique because you're going to be doing this using ecological and green methods. Talk to us about that.
So when a natural disaster strikes, right, rebuilding is one of those things that's very expensive to do. Right? What's the cheapest material you find on Earth? Earth.
Yeah.
So the method we're using has been called earth bags. It's a modified version of earth bags, where we use a polyurethane sack to fill it with earth, compound it, and then rod it into the ground so it's steady. And then we are able to build quite cheaply and rapidly with this as a way to respond to natural disasters. And it's environmentally friendly, because it's not using additional cement or material like that.
And as I said on my introduction, that we're looking at what, more than 100,000 homes that were destroyed. So how far are you guys hoping to go? I suppose it's going to be quite a difficult task, this one.
Right. As before, we aim small, and depending on the response, we scale up our operations. For the first trip, we were aiming to only help 100 families, but the response was much greater than that. This time, we're doing the same thing. We partnered with a company called Antiparo, which is an architectural company in Mozambique, and they have the modest goal of helping 1,000 families. Right. Depending on how much we can get the public to get involved, we can scale that up eventually. But it depends on the response of the general public.
But how do we get involved? What are you hoping to get from us as the public?
Okay. In this project, what we've done is send through volunteers who are from South Africa. So we made a call out to anyone who studied engineering or architecture or in construction. Various people raised their hands, and we selected a few to be part of the first group of volunteers who went across. So South Africans are helping. They're putting up their hands. They are leaving their companies for a month to go and rebuild.
They're providing their skills, most importantly.
And then the second way we can help is by raising enough funds to have the building material, because those urethane plastic bags need to be manufactured. Currently, we have a company in Brazil that we're getting them from, but it would make sense to make them here. It's cheaper even, and we can scale that up much faster. So financial backing is what we really, really need right now, so we can get the project going.
All right. So as you say, this time around, you need financial backing. So I suppose we cannot give out material things to assist. You're looking for finances.
The area is very far. To transport items from South Africa through the Komati-Port border all the way up to the Manyika province, where the cyclone hit the hardest, is a costly thing. So we end up using money to transport items, whereas cash gets it faster, and we can buy locally and support the local businesses that are trying to restart there. So it makes sense to have a financial support rather than a material one, so that we can kickstart the economy that side, in that area specifically, and get the community involved in the rebuilding themselves. So yes, in this case, financial backing is more preferable.
But for someone, more so young people who are watching this interview and they think that, you know, I'm here, I can provide my services for free. How do they go about doing that before we get to the financial part of donations?
Okay, so we've made multiple rounds of accepting people who've given their time. Unfortunately, we cannot send a large group without a plan. So as we keep a database of people who have volunteered, when we have openings in the volunteers, we then can select from there and send more and more volunteers across. But they have to be patient with us, because construction is a slow process. So it might be a couple of weeks or months before we contact them to come join the crew.
To come and help, But how many volunteers do you have now perhaps on your database?
Oh, I lost count. When the initial call came through, we had a large response from unemployed graduates who saw this as an opportunity to gain experience in a foreign land. Right. We started collecting that. I just didn't do the count of how many we have. It's in the region of hundreds.
So when are you looking at going back to the area? Of course, as you say, it's just the beginning of the campaign. There are logistics that are involved as well. So do you have a specific time frame, or are you looking at going back to Beira? And talk to us really about your deadlines that you have set for yourselves.
Oh, Palisa, we're already there. So our first group of volunteers is already in the Manyika province, not Beira, but Nyanemba, which is in the same province as Beira. And they're busy there with site preparation. They've cleared the spaces where we're going to construct. So there is already a team that is there. Okay. We initially had a schedule that we had to push back a little bit, because we didn't anticipate how much work is involved in setting up the site. But the team is already there, ready to start building as soon as we receive the material we need to get going.
All right, and donations, where do they go to? I know a lot of people would want to know how their money is spent, where it goes, accountability in terms of the donation. How will that one be tracked?
Okay, so we are an NPO. Being an NPO, we have to subscribe to some sort of, policies that guide us. But we are pretty transparent with our financial positions. If you go on our website, you should be able to find how we are spending the money. So the donations go straight into our account. We make open on request. You can then have a look at our account and how we are spending the money. But it is all being used for material and things related to the trip.
All right. So let's just recap your handles on social media. I know it's the easiest way of actually getting information about you guys. So your handles?
Right. In order to donate, the easiest way is to go to our website. It's called Hadithi Ya Africa. Our handles on all social media are Hadithi_Ya. Twitter, Instagram. In Facebook, you can type Midnight Train. You should be able to find us, or just Hadithi Ya Africa itself.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
We hope to have you guys as soon as you're back from this second phase of your campaign. We wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, Palis.
All right. Well, there you have it. Thandwefika Tshabalala is the founder of Hadithi Ya Africa, and Hadithi is spelled Hadithi, Ya Africa. So you'll find them on all social media platforms if you want to offer your services, most importantly, or if you want to make some donations.